We're live. Welcome to our stream. Hello, everyone. We don't have a concrete topic for you all today, so Tim and I thought it would be kind of interesting to talk about a little bit more about Lalph, which is the orchestrator frameworky thing that Tim's been working with. It's the tool that he's been using to help augment his workflows as part of work. So we thought we'd talk a little bit more about that. Maybe go through how you can set it up, like sandboxing, all that sort of stuff. And if anybody has any questions, you can drop them in the chat and we can try to answer them. But yeah, Tim, why don't you take over? And I'll also chime in with questions as I have them.
I think it's just a good opportunity to talk about AI workflows in general as well. I posted something controversial on Twitter yesterday and had a mixed reactions. What was it? Oh yeah, I said if you're still typing chat messages, you're a CLI AI agent, then you're doing it wrong. But I feel like orchestration of AI is going to pick up a lot in the next little while, and we'll be seeing a lot of solutions for it. I think I've seen a few people working on AI orchestrators on Twitter. We'll see, I feel like a few popular ones will pop up, but I'll probably stick with my one for the next little while. But a few questions I've got about it is, how do you use it? What's your workflow when working with AI? And I'll answer those questions today. And one part of it was security, like how do you sandbox your stuff? Because generally, if you give an agent access to all of your personal files, then it will potentially access those if there's prompt injection at any point. So a good way to work around that is either have a virtual machine, or if you're after something a bit more lightweight, you can have a sandbox on your laptop or work machine. I personally just use a sandbox with Docker, which is arguably not that secure, but it's better than nothing. But today we could try set up a DigitalOcean droplet.
I just run dangerously.
Yeah. I guess if you are constantly monitoring it, then that's fine. But if, when I'm working with AI, I'm not really looking at the sessions. I just look at the diff at the end sometimes.
That's true, I guess. With Lalph, it's more autonomous and less human in the loop.
I'll probably only have this spin up for an hour, so that much should be fine. Yeah, it's 20 cents, so that'll be okay.
You're going to bankrupt us, Tim.
20 cents. In the news, Effectful goes under because of 20% spend on DigitalOcean.
20 cents on DigitalOcean, my God.
Let's go create a new key. This is pitch. Well, I'll just use my own one. But not copy my private one on screen.
Why not? You can get rid of the discourse key, yes.
Yeah. I don't need those. You're right, so create our droplet. Mike says we don't need DigitalOcean set.
That's true. That is very true.
I feel like DigitalOcean's usually pretty quick, eh? Yeah. All right, now we need to log in. Cool. I guess first thing to do is add user.
Lalph.
It's been such a long time since I've added a user to anything. What's the way to create like everything, like the home directory and stuff? Just
Oh
no
man,
flags?
Tim, just plug it into Claude.
There we go. New password. New password can be password.
Highly secure. We're going for optimal security right now.
Yeah. Optimal. You can tell I haven't been a sysadmin for a long time.
That's okay. I think it's just Sue.
I am. So, right.
So what's the idea here? We clone Lalph onto this machine?
We just need to. I guess like setting up getting stuff is pretty lame. I'm not sure I want to do that. Maybe I'll just walk through like my Sandbox script. I don't want to set up a VM.
Do we need to Git integration to run Lalph, or can it run without Git? Like the actual connection to GitHub?
You just need to give it access to your project somehow.
Got it.
And then you obviously want to set up like Git user and Git email and all that kind of stuff. Like personally, I have like this Sandbox command. If I go to .files and Sandbox, basically what it does, it kind of like injects the Git stuff in, and then creates like a bunch of like directories to cache stuff. And then it kind of like shares the volume, shares the net store between all of them. And then mounts the current directory into the container.
Nice.
And then there's like a entry point for like setting up base packages and authenticating all the CLI agents. But the result is I'm in a directory, I type Sandbox, and then I'm now in like a container that only has the current directory in it with all the tooling that I need. So quite often like the AI agents need like root grep and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I need to figure out a way to make it boot faster.
What is it currently doing right here?
It's like, I think it's like downloading Nix packages index or something.
I guess if you pin your Nix packages, you could reduce the boot time, especially if you're mounting in the store from your machine. but
yeah. Yeah, but once you're in, you have your current directory, like open code and stuff already set up. Maybe I can just chuck a link to my Sandbox client if anyone wants to look at it.
yeah, why not? If you send it to me,
You just raw dog, do you?
Oh yeah. Dangerously ignore.
You don't wear pants.
No. But I'm also like 90% of the time I'm running human in the loop right now.
Tim.
I usually have like a few different sessions going, and I'll just swap between them as they're running.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, when I'm like planning stuff, I don't sandbox because I'm in the actual CLI agent iterating on a plan. But for the actual work, I'm not.
Yeah, Mike is the only one who runs sessions and he said this in chat, runs sessions for 24 hours without human in the loop and full root access for the LLM.
On your laptop?
No, on all the machines we have.
All right.
On his laptop and all of our dev machines.
Yeah. Yeah. In the news, Figful gets taken over by AI. Cool. So let's just assume at this point you have a way of sandboxing, or you don't care.
I would like to see it run with the Sandbox. Basically take us through your workflow.
Maybe.
Do you have something you are currently working on right now?
Do something for today. Or something.
Yeah, I haven't seen Sheffect in a while.
Welcome back, old friend.
Welcome back, old friend.
I don't really like that icon, so maybe we can change that icon. So we go to loose side and find an icon on that. Maybe this one. So first thing to do would be to install Lalph. I already have it in my path, but you can just do like that or run it with npx directly. Like this.
Not lastest, Tim.
Oops. Cool.
Now Lalph uses v4 of effect, right?
It does. So this is the new v4 CLI help, which is much more compact compared to version 3. It's nice.
It's very nice. Kit did a very nice job on the help documentation.
He did. And I'm not sure if I've got Lalph set up here, but if you run Lalph for the first time or ask you to set it up, you issue source to only use linear. Where did my icon go? There. And then I'll ask you to set up the agent you want to use. So we use OpenCode. I'll use OpenAI today. I actually want to try 5.2 with no codecs. Yeah, this is in case you wanted to like Docker Sandbox or something, the final command, but not today. And then Lalph
I
has
like
concepts.
I like your little ASCII art there, Tim. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
So Lalph has the concepts of projects, and projects are like kind of like configuration presets. So like when I'm working on effect, I have like my general purpose project, which is for like small tasks, and it will open a pull request for each small task. And then when I'm doing like a big feature, I'll create a separate project for that. And instead of pull requests, it's just like committing to a single branch for like more kind of like Ralph loop kind of work. And then projects can have like concurrency settings. So for like general purpose projects, I let it work on several tasks at a time. Might set it's free here. And for this flow, we'll use pull requests. And then you can choose to toggle on a review agent. So when it's finished its work, if this is turned on, it will like create a new AI session and say, can you like review the work and potentially fix things or add new tasks from issues that you find. I kind of like turn this on for like more for like the big feature work. So each time it like iterates on the feature, it reviews each step. But for the small tasks, I turn it off because I'm like kind of like the reviewer in that case. And then it will ask you to set up like the issue source stuff. And now it's waiting for work. So there's a few commands in here. But if I wanted to create a plan for this, I'd go L plan and optionally create like a new project for it. Or optionally turn on dangerous mode.
How I live my
I think
life.
for this, we don't really need like a plan. We just need a simple issue. Change the note icon to note book in I think that's fine. Now if we look at linear, we've got this issue here that will pick up and start working on. So my kind of like my flow for one-off small tasks is I have like that general project, and then I'll quickly add tasks to linear and it'll pick them up. And if I add lots, it'll work on 3 at a time. And like the result of that is a pull request that I then review, can add feedback to, and then that feedback will go back to the agent. So if you put the task back in the to-do state, it will pick it up again and like identify the PR and the feedback, and just like work through the feedback.
Is there a way to trigger from like the GitHub issue? Well, I guess if you're using linear as the issue source, you would provide the feedback there, or like is there a way if linear is your issue source, but you're reviewing the code in GitHub, can you put the task back into a to-do from like the GitHub UI or no?
I don't think so. I'm not sure if there's a way for the linear integration to do that.
Got it.
But usually once I've reviewed the PR, I like close the window and I'm back in the linear app anyway. So, so the other flow is if I wanted to work on a big feature, maybe I'll just quickly start a new workspace with that. So generally my workflow for that is I'll create a new branch for the new feature. So AI service. And then jump into plan mode with a new project. Probably one thing I need to add is a way of creating a linear project as well. I think I was already trying this the other day. And then that pops you onto your editor and you can write out a plan. So here we could say I want to create a service where users can pay for usage. Usage. Be a simple AI policy. So you got your plan. We'll give it a name. So if I'm working on a big feature, I usually set concurrency to 1 because I want each iteration to build on the previous. And then we do that. And then in this case, I'll do commit. So tasks are committed directly to the target branch with a review agent. And turn on auto merge here. So if I'm working on a big feature, I want each task to just like be automatically marked as completed before it moves on to the next one. So I'll turn on auto merge label. So now it's got all the information it needs to start working on like a specification. So it's going to open code at this point. And from here on in, you're just kind of like iterating on the plan and chatting with the AI, which is a pretty standard workflow that everyone's quite familiar with, probably.
I like how Mattia is shocked that Mike runs in dangerous mode everywhere.
Considering Mike's past life, it is a shock. How's the other guy going? Yeah, so how are you sending this? It's just an interactive session. So I can just type like normal. Mark just had a question about how I talk with it. So now it's going to ask me a bunch of questions about the plan. So Mark's question, the CLI allows you to have like a seed prompt. So Lalph gives it the seed prompt, and then you kind of like take over. And the seed prompt is so it knows about the environment and how to add tasks. OpenAI scope. I think for this we need images and chat responses.
It depends on if you're talking about like the OpenAI images, like API, or if you're just talking about putting images in the chat.
We're only using responses.
Yeah.
Read token counts from OpenAI responses. Yes. I don't really care because I'm not actually going to do this. Sure. So now it's going to create the spec file and ask us to review it. So it looks like it's finished this task. So usually at this point I'll just click on that PR link. What workspace is that? 2. And then I'll just look at the diff, and if I wanted to provide feedback, I just can leave comments on the lines that I want changed, and then put that back to do, and then it will work on it again.
And it like reads the comments and stuff from the PR, I'm assuming, to get the additional context.
So Lalph creates like a markdown file with all the feedback collated. Generally, like AI agents work best reading files, so I try to keep everything in the file system. So if I do that and submit the review, if we inspect what happens. I'm not in a sandbox right now. So here's the get work tree for the task. And it injects like this Lalph folder, which has all of the tasks for its plan. Oh no, wrong work tree. This one. Now if we look at that. Yeah, so it's got like the implementation plan document with all our tasks in it. Then once it's chosen a task, it's like this task.json file and a feedback file. And the feedback is basically XML. And it gets like the line number and the diff and the comment. Should probably filter out Vercel comments somehow.
The LLM needs to know.
But in this case, I don't really want it to look at the feedback right now. So you move the task back to like a backlog state or the done state. It should. No, it's got too far. It will cancel the tasks usually. So in this case, I am happy with the change. And then, like, from that point, the linear GitHub integration just takes over. So the pull request gets merged, it completes the task. So I use this like quite often in my day-to-day work, like when I think of something, I'll just quickly note it down in linear and like let it get picked up by Lalph. And then for going back to like the plan workflow. So here I have the specification. Then we'll go down implementation plan. At this point, if I'm happy with it, I just quit out of OpenCode. And then I'll convert the specification into tasks. So at this point, another session gets given the specification and like a prompt to convert the implementation plan into tasks. So if we go to projects, this guy, let's see what it does. So just reading the spec. And the prompt's like trying to guide it to create tasks that can be done independently. Like I found like at one point it was creating tasks that would then result in like a failing build. And then it would have to complete several other tasks to get it to a point where like the type checks pass and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've run into similar things. So like now when I plan, I tell it to try to like break the tasks down into sequential steps that are like in order of like what's the word? Like dependent on one another.
Yeah, I haven't found the issue was around dependencies, but rather like it would do things in the right order, but like one task was too small. Like it would say implement X feature, but it would then have another task saying to like refactor everything else to use the feature that it just built. But because it was a refactor, the rest of the project is like failing to compile because like the types changed. So really it would have to like, as part of one task, do the refactor and adjust the rest of the project to use like the new APIs rather than doing it as 2 steps.
Got it.
So it's added a lot of tasks. And once it's added the task, then it does like the dependency setup. So in linear, you have like, and on GitHub issues, I think you can go mark as blocked by or blocking to. And Lalph is like aware of those like task dependencies. So if something is like needs to be done before another thing can be worked on, then we'll set those up. That's weird. It's kind of like flickering. Maybe there's a bug somewhere.
Someone in my chat wants to know which tiling manager you're using, Tim.
This one's called Aerospace. Yeah, Aerospace. There you go. It's pretty good. Spend a little bit of time to set it up properly and you can get something that's nice to use. Okay, I don't know what's going on now. I have a feeling there's like a loop somewhere or like a recursion problem. But yeah, the idea is it sets up all like the dependencies correctly. So when it's choosing a task to work on, it has a better idea of what needs to be worked on first.
Hi, Mike. Mike's going to sleep.
See ya, Mike.
This is early for you, Mike.
What would that issue be caused by? So when it updates the file, it goes in here. and it then cancels. I think I know what I need to do. So there is a semaphore here, but it's only wrapping the sync. So maybe I also need to make sure like updates don't happen. Because it's a two-way sync, it's trying to keep the file in sync. So like if I make changes in linear while it's running, it also gets synced back. So I have a feeling that's like overriding the changes. Where would that be? I think that's like current issues. Oh, here we go. Right, yeah, so this should wait until the sync has been completed. So I think I can just add like a semaphore right here. Semaphore. Yeah, we can do that. So we're doing that. This will only fire if the semaphore is not in use. Otherwise, it's like a no op. Let's try it. So it looks like I lost my spec. There's like a command, like if you already have an existing spec, you can turn it into tasks. So I could say convert this spec into tasks. And then we'll just do the same thing as before, but with that specification. Do you do much Ralph looping?
I was doing a lot of it, and then I circled back to working on V4 stuff.
Yeah.
And the harness for Ralph that I set up there is not like the greatest yet.
Right.
So it works well, but for like really large features, I find that the loop that I set up there doesn't have enough feedback to work well. So I need to spend more time tuning the back pressure on the Ralph loop there, because I feel like the more back pressure you give these loops, the better they do. Plus, Mike integrated a judge, kind of like your feedback agent thingy that you can turn on. He integrated a judge into the loop that he's been using, and it works really well. So I feel like I probably will do something like that as well. But in what I was working on before, I was doing a lot of like Ralphing and I'll probably get back to it again now that the main 2 AI provider packages are sort of implemented. Because I have some smaller AI-related features I want to work on, and I feel like a Lalph loop would be pretty good for those.
Yeah, I guess my work is different to a lot of developers because I'm working on library code most of the time. Whereas if you're working on application stuff, you're usually working on lots of large features. But at the moment, I'm trying to get Effect 4 over the line, so there's usually at least at this point in time, a lot of small tasks. So I have an AI workspace over here, and I just leave Lalph running in the Sandbox. And then as I find things that need work on, then I just chuck a task in linear and let it pick it up while I'm working on other stuff. And then just review the pull requests and give feedback. So it's kind of like managing a team of junior developers rather than babysitting.
Tim's got a team of junior effectors that are working for him.
Yeah. So right now I only have one project in Lalph, and that's my junior one. And I have a concurrency of 3, so it could be working on 3 tasks at once at any point in time. So I just leave it running in a separate workspace that I don't look at too much. But I will look at it if it's starting a big project, because those the initial period where it's kind of trying to orientate itself is the point where you can notice if there's something kind of slightly off in your specification. It might be looking at code in the wrong places or obsessing over a detail that you didn't get the correct wording for. For example, I had it work on porting the DevTools modules in effect. And in the initial specification, it mentioned that it would copy the version 3 wire protocol exactly, but it meant it was trying to use Schema in a really weird way. But when I told it that it didn't need to be compatible with version 3 and that it could use the JSON codecs in Schema version 4, then it started producing much better code. And
the initial specs I found are pretty important.
Yeah. And you get a really quick sense of if your specs any good by looking at the initial iteration of the loop. So it's created the tasks. So this was a spec I had earlier for Effect where I wanted it to work on the timers.
Did it end up implementing this or no?
It did, and then I think I took its implementation and cleaned it up quite a bit.
So this effect has timers in it now?
It does. So if you go to a recipe, it highlights all the timer links.
That's cool.
And then it just kind of adds it down the bottom.
That's cool. But Tim, that layout shift though.
Yeah, that's like a shared scene thing, like dialogues. Get rid of the scroll.
Interesting.
It doesn't happen on phones because there's no scroll bars on phones. But maybe I can ask it to fix it.
Get your team of juniors to
Yeah.
come over here and fix it.
What's happening here? Yeah, that's right. And there you go, set up dependencies. Yeah, so it's going to work on those two things first.
Have you started using... So does Lalph use any of the V4 AI modules yet? I mean, I just finished the providers, so I'm assuming no. But
no, because all the AI work's done by the CLI
the
tools.
harnesses.
Yeah. But it could be interesting to try build like an automation-focused agent that uses AI packages. Because a lot of open code, though, is just like the prompts that injects into the system prompt and the tools. The tools do like the file reading and writing, and it looks like open code relies on a patch tool for writing on files quite a lot right now.
Yeah, I actually implemented in V4 support for OpenAI's apply patch tool.
Oh, yeah.
If you crack open small and you look at the OpenAI tool, there's an apply patch tool now.
Yeah.
And basically it'll give you the operation to perform, whether it's like a modification, a delete, or a creation.
Yeah.
And you have to like do that operation.
So this is the operation here. Create
Yeah.
file, delete file, update file. Oh, yeah.
So now I'm working on trying to add support for dynamic tool calls like the Vercel SDK has, because that will unlock the ability to better incorporate MCP tools into your language models. And the other thing I'm working on right now is being able to toggle strict mode on and off, both for structured outputs and for tool calls individually.
Yeah. But the output would still be schema validated?
Yeah, it just has to do with the JSON schema that is sent, I think. Like it's the strict mode is weird. It applies much more to structured outputs. It still gets validated by the schema. But it's more related to like the JSON schema that gets sent over the wire.
Got it.
Also, in V4, the schemas the support for JSON schema is like so much better. Like Julio really outdid himself with like JSON schema conversion. So like the JSON schemas that we send over the wire now just are generally much better.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of the I spend like quite a lot of time like whenever I'm running AI stuff, just like looking at the JSON schema output to see if it's good. Just because it's like it has to be quite self-descriptive.
Yeah, let me see if I can find. I don't remember. I have to see if he has it in his like little summary document, but let me see. Yeah, so I haven't incorporated this yet, but right here. This is like so sick. I'll send it to you. You can show it. I still need to incorporate this, just to be clear, into the AI providers, but this is like what I was talking about. So OpenAI obviously has a lot of restrictions on the JSON schema that it supports. So Julio implemented this capability of JSON schema called like a rewriter, where you can describe like a generic rewriter that takes in a JSON schema and like allows you to manipulate it.
Right.
And so like this rewriter, there's a built-in one for OpenAI that like takes in the document and rewrites it to be more compatible with OpenAI. So for example, if you scroll up and look at the schema we passed in, you'll see the non-empty string, which is a filter, right?
Yeah.
But like to make it more compatible with OpenAI, we need to like manipulate this, and you can also add the generate descriptions option to it, which will like try to take the context from the schema itself and like add, basically take the like, for example, the unsupported things from the schema and turn it into descriptions that the AI can use to support like generation. So like the min length property doesn't like work right in OpenAI. So instead, you convert it to a supported JSON schema output. And we by default already include that in the description. But like if something wasn't in there, you could potentially include that information in the description with generate descriptions true. Or I'm sorry, in this case he is using it, but anyway.
How do you then, because obviously this will produce output that is not compatible with the schema. So how do you then feed it, decode it?
How do you mean?
It's like it's turned an optional key into a null union. So the model's going to give us back null, which is incompatible with this.
Yeah, I'll have to ask. I'm not sure. I know he was testing this out, so it might not be fully working yet. But one of the things we were thinking about is also there's not currently a combinator that expresses like in V3 there was a combinator with the optional with combinator that you could like say if null is passed, make it like drop the key basically.
I think the rewriter would have to be in between the schema and the JSON schema conversion. So you then get a new schema that is OpenIA compatible.
Yeah.
So then you can, it would still decode to your desired type, but the...
Do me a favor, take a look at the tests he wrote for this and see if there's anything more descriptive in there.
Tests
should be in schema or unstable schema, I'm not sure.
rewrite. Looks like it's just testing the JSON schema output. No.
Wait, the optional one right there. Scroll up a bit. Not that one. Not that one. That one. Yeah, I think he's just...
output looks fine.
All right, I'll have to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know if there's a way to go backwards. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because you need to be able to go backwards to then actually pass the output you get back. So I think what we really want is a rewriter for the schema itself. Because ideally what it would do is turn this into a schema.null or string.
Right.
Which is kind of like an intermediate transform between the schema we give it and the JSON schema that goes to the model. So the flow would be, we pass in an object with potentially undefined key. Then the schema would rewrite it to null. Then it would go to this. And then on the reverse flow, null would come in. The schema transform would convert it to undefined.
Well, we may be actually able to do that because with V4, you can flip schemas.
Right.
So we might be able to have that bidirectional transform already. I mean, I'd have to do it manually, but like we might be able to include, like, basically incorporate it into the rewriter. I'll talk to him. But anyway, I thought this was super cool. Just like the concept of like...
Yeah, the concept is pretty cool. I think we just need to think about the execution a bit more. What's this doing? So yes, once you've coded everything to tasks, the dependencies are set up, then you can go in here, and then I usually just assign auto merge to everything I don't want to review manually. So I feel like AI is going to screw this step up, and I really want to make sure it's correct before it moves on. And now I'll turn it off. But that's like generally how I work on the bigger features. And all of this will get committed to a single pull request or branch.
Nice. Very cool.
And if you look at the descriptions, it like leaves notes to itself. So if for some reason it screws it up, it can start again and have a bit more context of what to do.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you giving us some insight into your workflow with Lalph. I'm sure folks will have more questions as they start trying it out for themselves. But anyway, I hope that was interesting for folks. I hope you all enjoyed it. And we will see you all next week, hopefully. Cheers, everyone.
See ya.